Good morning, children. Welcome to the English session. The lesson that we are going to discuss today is The Black Aeroplane by Frederick Forsyth. Let's start with the title, The Black Aeroplane. We all know that aeroplanes are usually white in color. Then why does our title suggest Black Aeroplane? Now, what could be the meaning of black? Black could symbolize dark. Of course, it means color. It could even symbolize shadowy or something mysterious. Let's take the last one, the mysterious aeroplane. Now, how could an aeroplane be mysterious? Could it be a pirate plane like a pirate ship? Or could it be just the author's figment of imagination? So let's explore. So the lesson goes, the moon was coming up in the east behind me, and stars were shining in the clear sky above me. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. I was happy to be alone high up above the sleeping countryside. I was flying my old Dakota aeroplane over France back to England. I was dreaming of my holiday and looking forward to being with my family. I looked at my watch, 1:30 in the morning. I should call Paris Control soon, I thought. As I looked down past the nose of the aeroplane, I saw the lights of a big city in front of me. I switched on the radio and said, Paris Control, Dakota DS088 here. Can you hear me? I'm on my way to England. Over. The voice from the radio answered me immediately. DS088, I can hear you. You ought to turn 12 degrees west now. DS088, over. I checked the map and the compass, switched over to my second and last fuel tank, and turned the Dakota 12 degrees west towards England. I'll be in time for breakfast, I thought. A good big English breakfast. Everything was going well. It was an easy flight. Paris was about 150 kilometers behind me when I saw the clouds. Storm clouds. They were huge. They looked like black mountains standing in front of me across the sky. I knew I could not fly up and over them, and I did not have enough fuel to fly around them to the north or south. I ought to go back to Paris, I thought. But I wanted to get home. I wanted that breakfast. I will take the risk, I thought, and flew that old Dakota straight into the storm. So, from the first paragraph, we can understand that the sky was clear when the author was flying his old Dakota aeroplane over France to England. Dakota is a military aeroplane. On his plane, he communicated to the woman in the control center, and she gave him the necessary instructions. He was dreaming of his holiday and looking forward to being with his family and thought to take a good English breakfast with his family. Everything was going well, and of course it was an easy flight. Paris was about 150 kilometers behind him when he saw the huge black mountain and storm clouds in front of him across the sky. Now he was confused. He had to go back to Paris, but his inner feeling suggested to get back home. At last, he decided to take the risk, and he flew into the clouds. But suddenly everything turned out black. The author could not see anything outside the aeroplane. So moving on, inside the clouds, everything was suddenly black. It was impossible to see anything outside the aeroplane. The old aeroplane jumped and twisted in the air. I looked at the compass. I couldn't believe my eyes. The compass was turning round and round and round. It was dead. It would not work. The other instruments were suddenly dead too. I tried the radio. Paris Control, can you hear me? There was no answer. The radio was dead too. I had no radio, no compass, and I could not see where I was. I was lost in the storm. Then in the black clouds quite near me, I saw another aeroplane. It had no lights on its wings, but I could see it flying next to me. Through the storm, I could see the pilot's face. turned towards me. I was very glad to see another person. He lifted one hand and waved. Follow me, he was saying. Follow me. He knows that I'm lost, I thought. He's trying to help me. He turned his aeroplane slowly to the north, in front of my Dakota, so that it could be easier for me to follow him. I was very happy to go behind the strange aeroplane like an obedient child. Here we can understand that the old aeroplane jumped and twisted in the air. The compass, radio, and other instruments suddenly stopped working. Then, in the black clouds quite near him, he saw another aeroplane. It had no lights on its wings, but he could see it flying next to him through the storm. It, of course, made him happy. Even the other pilot waved at him. He turned his aeroplane slowly to the north in front of the other's Dakota so that it would be easier for the other to follow him. After half an hour, the strange black aeroplane was still there in front of me in the clouds. Now there was only enough fuel in the old Dakota's last tank to fly for 5 or 10 minutes more. I was starting to feel frightened again, but then he started to go down and I followed through the storm. Suddenly, I came out of the clouds and saw two long straight lines of lights in front of me. It was a runway, an airport. I was safe. I turned to look for my friend in the black aeroplane, but the sky was empty. There was nothing there. The black aeroplane was gone. I could not see it anyway. I landed and was not sorry to walk away from the old Dakota near the control tower. I went and asked a woman in the control center where I was and who the other pilot was. I wanted to say thank you. Here we can understand that suddenly the author came out of the clouds and saw two long straight lines of lights in front of him. It was a runway, an airport, and he was safe. The author turned to look for his friend in the black aeroplane, but the sky was empty. The black aeroplane was gone. He could not see it anywhere. He went and asked a woman in the control center where he was and who the other pilot was. She looked at me very strangely and then laughed. Another aeroplane? Up there in the storm? No other aeroplanes were flying tonight. Yours was the only one I could see on the radar. So who helped me to arrive there safely without a compass or a radio and without any more fuel in my tanks? Who was the pilot on the strange black aeroplane, flying in the storm without lights? So she looked at the author very strangely and then laughed. She said there wasn't any other aeroplanes flying that night. The author's was the only one she could see on the radar. Now, radar means it's a measuring instrument. So here the story concludes, leaving the readers with several questions in their mind. Who helped the author to arrive there safely without a compass or a radio and without any more fuel in his tanks? Who was the pilot on the strange black aeroplane flying in the storm without lights? Could it be his inner conscience? Or could it be any supernatural power who has really come to help him? So here we can conclude with the idea that it could have been his willpower which helped him to come out of the situation.